Hi, Tim. Welcome to the Hackathon rehearsal and just some quick heads up on some key topics we'll be covering in the Hackathon. Thank you for participating as one of the moderators in this program and even as a participant also. So let's get into the details of it. It's going to be talking about metadata in general and some other tools around cryptography, port scanning, SQL injection, vulnerabilities so that we can have a good concept of it before the hackathon actually kicks off. All right, so let's talk about it real quick. So, top on the list is for us to kind of think about it a little bit and say, all right, so we're going to start with what is metadata analysis. And in simple terms, it's a way to kind of review information about the data. And this include information around the author of the data, the size of the data, and any information or clue around a data itself. So really it helps us to identify the source of the data, the intent of the data, and the context from a digital point of view of the data itself. Then, of course, for many people in the forensic side of things that do investigation, your FBI, your internal forensic team, your crime and litigation team, they go ahead and continuously use this method to understand different trends. So that's a real big deal out there. Another one is cryptography. This is the art of secure communication. A lot of us are aware of this already. So it includes how do we protect data that is in transit? How do we secure data that is at rest? And also ensuring authentication of users and the devices of those users through digital signatures and certificates. So these are some use cases for our encryption. Most of us, when we send information to different sources, email, WhatsApp, chat forums, whatever it is, we use encrypted mechanism that is provided by those platforms to send messages. And that gives us some reasonable assurance that our information is safe. Another thing is port scanning. In simple terms, we all can agree that none of us wants open ports that somebody can just plug in their cable and have access to our network. So most people inherently protect their ports, right? So we scan for port to see if there is any open ports and check for potential vulnerabilities around those open ports and check if there's an entry point for a potential attacker. So it's a big deal. So it means that we also want to make sure we understand different networking services. So we're talking about the web servers, your email server, your database server. In simple terms, all the websites that you access, we have a server that is a gateway to make sure that we can have effective protection around it. Your email server, email correspondent, we have a server dedicated to that. Same thing for your databases for storage. You want to make sure that there is appropriate servers for that. And you don't want to have any ports open to form a backdoor to those critical server infrastructure as a whole. So port scanning many times allows us to do some security assessment to check if there's a potential risk of vulnerabilities in the process. Another thing is SQL injection. This is mostly exploiting data vulnerabilities. We can agree data is the new gold, so it's a huge asset for most organizations. So we want to check for potential compromised database securities. We want to make sure there's no data theft and manipulation. I want to prevent, in general terms, SQL data vulnerability attack. And how do we do that? We want to make sure things like secure coding practices, meaning when you develop your code, you don't allow backdoor. You want to make sure the code is well scanned also. Then you want to do things like input validation and effectively making sure vulnerabilities are addressed in real time. And of course, the backdoor entry point, we're talking about hidden access point people are not aware of. Secure remote access tools are always a good way, such as SSH and RDP, which requires strong password and multi-factor authentication. Then, of course, monitoring and continuous auditing of those processes. So these are some very good, effective ways. So in the hackathon, in a bit, you're going to see us simulate some real life scenarios. And but this is really the gist of it. This is the foundation for the hackathon, and I look forward to seeing you all there in a bit. This is going to be very interesting. And in conclusion, you leave with knowledge of metadata analysis, cryptography, port scanning, SQL injection vulnerabilities, and you would have an idea of ways we can kind of start triaging and checking for potential risk as a whole. It'll be fun, and I look forward to seeing you there. And thanks for being one of the coordinators and participants also. I'll see you all in a bit. Thank you, and I'll talk soon.